slate of panels for tomorrow, and we hope as many of you will be with us as possible. We want to offer a great round of thanks to all of you for coming tonight to this special event for our Rising Stars. We want to thank our sponsors for helping us get this first summit off the ground in such a spectacular way. And in particular, we want to thank everyone who thought about nominating Rising Stars. So when we thought about this day and what we wanted to accomplish over the next couple of days, we wanted to celebrate all that is Penn women. And that's obviously a very big task for us to set for ourselves. And one of the ways we did that was to invite all members of our community to nominate Rising Stars, and we received some outstanding recommendations. It was hard for the committee to narrow things down. You'll hear a lot about the accomplishments of our Rising Stars, but we also wanted to thank everyone who nominated anyone and know that the awards we give tonight are really awards recognizing all Penn women and all that we're doing all around the globe in increasingly important ways. So we hope that the four of you will wear your awards proudly on behalf of all of us who are your sisters in your work. So first of all, what is a star? You know, we have Rising Stars. Well, I wanted to think a little bit about what is a star. So I hit on four things that make a star a star. And with apologies to my STEM sisters in the room, I'll go ahead and give my layperson's analysis of what they are. So the first thing that it takes to get a star to form is a little bit of agitation. There's gases, there's energy, there's particles, but they're just sitting there. And then all of a sudden, something comes along and does a little bit of agitating. And that agitation causes the disturbance that puts it all together, and flying through that, those particles get active and do a lot of things with their new energy. So that seemed really appropriate to me, that, you know, it's that agitation to get the whole thing started. And then that activity and that energy that starts, that takes some nuclear fusion. I won't try and explain nuclear fusion, but we all know, cross-disciplinary as we are, that means that those particles are now going to hang together. They're going to take on their own gravity. They're going to be something. And that's a pretty amazing thing right there. And that, in turn, creates a luminosity that shines the way for other people. If you think about what stars have meant to us in our history, you know, the North Star bringing slaves here to Philadelphia. Think about that. Harriet Tubman came here, you know, following the Northern Star, and what a star means as a way of shining brightness onto others who come behind us. And then that light, and again, my apologies to our male colleagues here. I am a feminist, I'm not ashamed of that. That light is its own thing. And that makes a star different from any other body in the atmosphere, because those other bodies reflect the light from other things. But stars are built on their own light. So they are reflecting their own light. They are not taking other people's accomplishments and shining them back. They are their own accomplishments. So given that four standards for what a star is, I think we have quite a treat in hearing about our Penn Law women tonight. So let me start. We're going in alphabetical order. So that means that Narine RSU is our first graduate. Nermeen graduated in the class of 2008 after she took her undergraduate degree at the University of North Carolina. And she was nominated by Allison Carpenter. Is Allison here?
She's going to be here in 2 minutes.
Oh, she's going to be here. I'll go. Would you like me to do someone else first? Why don't we do that for Allison's behalf? Is that okay? Yeah, I don't mind at all. So we'll be flexible. So we'll start with Sheila. So Sheila Babet is a class of 07 member, and she graduated from the University of Arizona before she came to Penn Law. And she's nominated by Catherine Minarek. There she is. Catherine's here. And Catherine said that the best thing about Sheila, or the constant thing about Sheila, is her willingness to commit her time and her personal energy in service of the voiceless, and that energy has been and always will be boundless. That sounds pretty star quality to me. Sheila is now the program director of the California Bar Foundation, where there she launched a new public interest legal fellowship that third-year students and lawyers can take to provide legal services to the underrepresented in areas of California where there aren't lawyers. Before that, she started her career as a litigation associate at Morgan Lewis in San Francisco, and then entered the nonprofit sector, raising foundation support and building programs in the realms of gender diversity, in politics, in legal services, and in alleviating poverty. Sheila is perhaps most renowned for a recent book that she published now almost 2 years ago, and the title of the book is Part of the Family, ? Nannies, Housekeepers, Caregivers, and the Battle for Domestic Workers' Rights. This is obviously a critically important issue in our society, and I want to read to you from one of the reviews because I don't think anyone could say better what Eileen Boris of UC Santa Barbara said about the book. Using the pointless prose of a journalist and the comprehensive sweep of a scholar, Sheila guides us around the movement of nannies, care providers, and household workers for recognition, dignity, and justice that is reshaping how we think of home laborers and telling the story of their struggles from New York to California to Geneva and beyond. She not only profiles heroines for our times, but shows that together we can make a better, fairer, and more inclusive future. With the book, Sheila's been on a book tour through 7 cities, and on the book tour, domestic workers come along and speak on their behalf with their own voices, and that's, I think, a large testament to Sheila's work. She's accompanied tonight. Is your mom here? Oh, there she is. I know. She's taking a photo. That's great. And Professor Babet came from Arizona to be with us, where she's a professor of physics at the College of Eastern Arizona, and her boyfriend Nish Patel is here as well. So we've asked every one of the nominees to give us a little piece of advice that they would share with our current students. And Sheila's advice to her junior self is not to be so hard on herself in the face of adversity. Those are the times when you need to be a strong ally to yourself. And those are great words for us to think about. So I think from the point of view of luminosity and a light that's shining in dark places, we welcome Sheila to receive her Rising Star.
Thank you for this incredible honor. This is amazing. It's amazing to see all of you. My friend from law school, this has just been a wonderful summit. Shout out to Corey Fulton and her whole team for planning this and executing it so brilliantly. I would be remiss without acknowledging Catherine Minaric, who nominated me for this award. She's my friend, my former classmate. Catherine was really a star here at Penn, speaking of rising stars. She's now an equity partner at her firm, she's a mom, and so just to be nominated by someone like Catherine is really a huge honor, and I feel pretty confident that someday we'll be calling you Justice Minaric. Maybe in the next 8 years, you never know. I think the best part about being a writer for me is that it's really an opportunity to amplify the voices of advocates who are fighting for social change, who are really in the trenches. And my book chronicles the work of the National Domestic Workers Alliance, which is a group that has been working hard to improve the economic conditions of many of our country's most marginalized and invisible. And these are nannies, caregivers, housekeepers throughout the United States and globally. And the National Domestic Workers Alliance focuses on a range of strategies, including change at the local, state, and federal level, policy change that improves wages and hours and working conditions for domestic workers. They also work on immigration reform, and You know, domestic workers are often immigrant women. These are women who are impacted by deportation that we hear about in the news all the time. And these are women who will be most vulnerable if current rhetoric around immigration reform becomes a reality. And the National Domestic Workers Alliance also believes that we need to invest more in parents too. We need better maternity and paternity policies in this country for all people, regardless of where they work. And I know that's resonant for many of us in this room. So I think the work of the National Domestic Workers Alliance is so critical because all of us in this room stand on the shoulders of other women. And I don't just mean women lawyers who blaze the trail in our profession. I mean the women who raised us. It's still mostly women raising children in this country who are caring for elders, who are doing most of the domestic work, and that work is drastically undervalued. So thank you for this incredible honor, and if there's one thing I can leave with all of you is I hope you'll check out domesticworkers.org. There's a vast body of writing of the great work that they're doing, and that's really the greatest meaning that I take from this moment is that I can share their work with all of you. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Sheila. Congratulations again. And this is good now that we've talked about the issue of immigration because Nermeen is someone who has dedicated her life's work to that cause. So again, Nermeen was nominated by Allison Carpenter, who is now. Thank you, Allison. Nermeen is a clinical law faculty member and supervising attorney at City University of New York. So we all know the great work that's done at that law school, educating the next generation of legal leaders in our public interest community. She runs the school's Immigrant and Non-Citizens Right Clinic, where she supervises third years who are practicing before the Board of Immigration Appeals on asylum, trafficking, gender-based violence, deportation, and unaccompanied minors issues. She also does federal habeas litigation on behalf of clients who've been indefinitely detained at Guantanamo Bay. And in a really neat exercise in cross-disciplinarity, if that's a word, Penn law word. She's also a supervisor for the CLEAR project, which brings together faculty and students from among all the clinics at City University of New York Law School to serve the population of Muslim, South Asian, and Arab communities in New York City who are impacted by national security issues. So that's a really important piece of work and very innovative in its scope. Before that, Nermeen was a litigation associate at Simpson Thatcher and a staff attorney at the Asian American Legal Defense and Education Fund. In both of those roles, she was doing so much immigration work. I don't know how you had time to be an associate at Simpson, but she was doing deportation defense, suppression cases, asylum cases, and citizenship cases throughout that time. At ALDEF, she also oversaw monthly immigration clinics for the community, sponsored with community organizations, and she litigated her own cases on zoning matters around houses of worship, addressed anti-Muslim bias in the immigration system, and advocated against racial and religious profiling and law enforcement surveillance. Nermeen has also worked at the Legal Assistance Center in Namibia and the Immigrant Women Program at the Legal Momentum, which was formerly the now Legal Defense Fund, always doing policy work on gender-based violence. Her parents are with her today. They've traveled to be with us as well, and we welcome them. In terms of her advice to those of us who are thinking about, looking back, create your own definition of success and pursue that confidently. So here is someone whose career has certainly been a little bit of a disruption in the immigration community and her caused that energy to be put to great use. So congratulations, Nermeen.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that really kind introduction. I'm so humbled to be here. Every time I get on that Amtrak and I'm rolling into Philadelphia Station right here, seeing the skyline, just this wave of nostalgia comes over me, takes me back to my Penn Law School years. And there was this one foundational moment for me there. It was in the clinic at Penn Law with Professor Alan Lerner. I don't know if any of you had him. I know him. Yes. So foundational for so many of us. He had been with me for hours. I was prepping on behalf of a 13-year-old client who was troubled but ambitious. She had been in and out of foster care, and we were going to her dependency hearing the next day. It was my first time going to court. Professor Lerner was with me for hours, and I was peppering him with questions non-stop. Can I ask the judge this? What if this is too much? Should we compromise here? Can I talk at this time? I was just so nervous. My questions were non-stop, and Professor Lerner was patiently, as was his style, just listening, trying to calm me down. Finally, I think we were at like hour 3, he had missed dinner. He looks at me, kind of fixes his bow tie. Those of you know him know he always had that bow tie. He's like, Nermeen, calm down. Don't be afraid to push. Don't be afraid to ask. This person, this young person, probably has not had many people fight hard for her before. Now that you have that chance, go for it. Don't be afraid. Fight relentlessly. Those words, fight relentlessly, don't be afraid to fight, right, have resonated with me for the years after. I mean, every time I had my first in a certain court or in a certain venue, a certain type of case, through successes, through failures, through nervous moments, I always kind of went back to Professor Lerner's words. And now that I'm in that privileged, very privileged position to be teaching young lawyers, the future members of our profession, that is still to the core of my beliefs and my teachings, is whether our clients are rich and powerful, whether they are poor and weak. They aren't weak, but whether they're perceived as weak, right? Whoever they are, we owe them that. We owe them to fight relentlessly on behalf of them. We have to just not be afraid to keep pushing harder. And regardless of what kind of work I've done, whether it be in immigration or civil rights, that's kind of been my mantra and what I want to really instill in my students. So, of course, as some of you do know, that Professor Lerner unfortunately passed away a few years later, so please send him a prayer. Take a moment for that. I am grateful for the years I had with him, and grateful to the Penn Law community, the administrators, the faculty, that have kept their doors open to me since long after I've graduated. It's been incredible as I've tried to pursue my own career in academics, how much Penn Law has been there for me through all of that. And basically, to just take a moment and say, if you want to fight relentlessly for others, you need to have a relentless support system backing you up, right? And so in that regard, I want to start by saying thank you so much to my friends, my sisters, like my friends who became family from Penn Law, including Allie Carpenter, who nominated me, thank you, and Sarah Isbar, who came in for DC. Very humble and thankful for that. And of course, a huge thank you to my parents who came all the way from North Carolina to be here and were the first people who really instilled those social justice values in me and taught me to think about justice and think about others and be that voice for others where I could be. And I just wanted to acknowledge my incredible spouse and my 2 young children who aren't able to be here today. They probably are the ones who compromise and sacrifice their time the most so I can do this. And I'm so grateful for their support, and I hope together with them that we can continue making this world a bit fairer and a little bit more just. So thank you all so much.
Thank you. Okay. Next, we have Linda Shee. Linda is an 09 graduate and graduated from Rutgers with, again, back to that Penn Law cross-disciplinarity before she even got to us, a BS in mechanical engineering and a BA in English. So from the beginning, she was someone with a great variety of interests. She's been nominated by Fran Greising, who can't be here but sends her great respect to you. Linda is currently the General Counsel for 50 on Red, which is a very cool Philadelphia-based digital media and technology company. She's the Chief Legal Counsel and the Head of Compliance there, and focuses on technology, privacy, and the intellectual property law issues, and how they apply in a early stage startup and a company that is starting to do great things. We are really proud that she won the Philadelphia Business Journal's top Corporate Counsel Award for her advisory work in 2015. And this prompted her very cool firm, yes, to put out the 12 undisputedly awesome facts about Linda. These include her gorgeous handwriting, which we know about at Penn Law, her wall climbing ability, her sushi making and other culinary talents, her clutch under pressure, and perhaps most importantly, her fearless ability to speak up for what she knows is right. Bringing apart all these disparate parts of her experience together, her training, her passion, her work, she also finds time somehow to be the co-founder of Lycuma Labs, which is an engineering new technology company that she co-founded, and you need to watch for their super cool, pun intended, new air conditioning units called Noria, which will hit Kickstarter soon. So make sure you take a look at that too. Before joining 50 on Red, Linda was the assistant general counsel for intellectual property at Synergy, and before that was an intellectual property associate with Volpe & Koenig, an intellectual property boutique firm. She's accompanied by her husband, Curtis Swanson, and her advice to her law school self is not to worry so much about the here and now. Try and take a breather sometimes and look at the bigger picture. Law students might tend to treat every little mistake or potential issue as a crisis, and sometimes get caught up in that, but looking back on it, so many of those things don't matter. Cause unnecessary noise and stress. And when you are the nuclear fusion of ideas, you don't need noise and stress, so we take all the energy that you put together and cause a rising star, so we're very proud.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much to Joanne for that incredibly kind introduction. So to echo some of the other honorees, I would just like to start off by thanking Penn Law, the Caregivers Society, and the Women's Summit here today for this award, which I'm just beyond honored to be receiving. I'm also just in awe of the talent, dedication, and generosity of spirit present in this room here today, and especially of the accomplishments of my fellow honorees who are doing truly inspiring and important work in their respective legal fields. It's especially meaningful for me to be receiving this award from Penn Law, where I had the privilege of learning from some of the most brilliant legal minds in the world. And it's also where I met many of my closest friends, colleagues, mentors, and role models. So before coming to law school, I had heard of Penn Law's reputation as being a very collegial place, which is really unique in an environment where you have a critical mass of these type A overachieving law students all crammed into one small space. And that reputation really played a large part in my decision to enroll at Penn Law. So while I found Penn's collegiality to absolutely 100% be the case during my time as a law student, what I didn't appreciate at the time and what I couldn't have known at the time is how that culture of supportiveness extends beyond graduation in Penn's alumni network. So through my involvement with the Caregivers Society and my friendships and relationships with other Penn alums, I've continued to learn and be supported by that network as I grew from an associate at a firm and then transitioned into in-house practice, and later on as I took on the general counsel role at my current company, 50 on Red. So it would take far too long to thank all the various alumni who have helped me, but I wanted to specifically thank Jamie Lau and Frank Rising, whose mentorship and advice have been invaluable during my career. If I'm a rising star, as this award embodies, it's only because I have women like Jamie and Fran to guide me and boost me up. So thank you to Jamie and Frank who couldn't be here. And thank you to my amazing friends and colleagues, some of whom traveled really long distances to be here today. Jaja came all the way from LA on a red-eye that landed at 6:30 this morning, after which she immediately got to work and was on a conference call by noon. Jen, who came in from New York, thank you, from Boston, thank you so much. And I also want to thank my family and husband, who have always believed in me and been so supportive of my passions, even if those passions involve taking on a huge amount of law school loans. And especially my mother, who is the strongest woman I know. And most of all, thank you again to Penn Law. I can only hope to give back to this institution, even a small percentage what you've given me throughout the years. And now with this award, you'll have to add that one to my tab.
Thank you, Linda. So we have our final, not our last, we'll have more in the future, but we have our final for tonight, Rising Star, Meredith Slaw, who's in the class of '05, a Dartmouth grad before she came to us, and she was nominated by Beth Diffley and Jill Bronson. Never mind the rest of the drinker firm. That's it. We welcome you all. Meredith is a partner at Drinker. She has a national litigation practice with an emphasis on business disputes and internal investigations. She's routinely defending companies in putative class actions brought under consumer protection statutes and jurisdictions around the country. She specializes in defending against false and deceptive marketing and advertising, pricing allegations, and privacy-based claims with a particular expertise in retail, communications, and pharmaceuticals. She's also a key member of Drinker's Telephone Consumer Protection Act team, which is probably very important right around election time. And that team is working on robocalls and other things. She's counseling her clients on how to avoid class action litigation under the terms of that act. And she's writes on that act for several publications. You can find her online at the National Law Journal and other opportunities. Meredith also is a member of Drinker Biddle's Women's Leadership Committee, and that is a really important role to her and to the firm, where she mentors new associates and speaks on the pipeline to partnership, a really important issue for young women who take the opportunity to go into major law firm practice. She's originating business as a young partner, to the great acclaim of her partners there, and that, again, is an important role for women in the law firm world. We see her back at Penn often when she's interviewing for the firm or doing programs for us on these issues for women and about work-life balance for all of our students. And she's also very busy in her spare time. She's on the corporate executive board of the Philadelphia Museum of Art. She's on the ABA Young Lawyers Division of the White Collar Crime Committee, the National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers, and other things. She's on the board of managers. Did we mention that she's still singing many years after her light opera career is behind her? And she also somehow fits in 3 children along the way. The 3 kids all happen to be related to Dan Slaw. The 2 of them met in Amy Wax's Civ Pro class, Section 1, first day. So it's been a good, we won't ask what you thought of Professor Wax, but we will say the rest has proven very successful. She's also accompanied by her mother, Ellie, here today with us. So her advice, take it all in. Don't get distracted by the stress of studying or writing. In 3 years, you have the privilege of learning to think, write, question, and speak while surrounded by bright and interesting peers and incredible and accessible professors. Enjoy it, go to office hours, sit in the courtyard after class, and engage in philosophical discussions. And be nice to anybody you meet who's kind of cute. So here's a star who isn't reflecting anyone else's light. She's shining brightly on her own, and we are very proud of Meredith as well.
Thank you so much to everyone here. Thank you for this tremendous honor, and thanks to Beth and Jill for nominating me. I am so proud to be a graduate of the University of Pennsylvania Law School and to serve on the Alumni Board of Managers. This award is really, really meaningful to me, and I'm proud to be among such accomplished women tonight. Penn Law has had a very significant influence on my life. It fundamentally changed the way I approach problem solving. I was challenged to think on my feet, to write and argue persuasively, and to avoid eye contact with all professors at all times to avoid being called. It was at the law school that I met a special group of friends who have gone on to do amazing things in the profession. And as mentioned, it was at Penn Law that I met Dan, my wonderful husband of nearly 9 years in the back row of room 1 on the first day of Cipro. And where he sat the first day was where he had to sit the whole time. So. At Penn Law, I endured on-campus interviewing, otherwise known as OCI, and through it acquired a countless supply of firm-branded mints and highlighters. And also through OCI, and more importantly, Penn Law facilitated my introduction to Drinker, Biddle, and Reath, the extraordinary law firm that I've been fortunate to call my home for the past decade. So I'm a litigation partner at Drinker, which was mentioned, and my practice focuses largely on defending companies in consumer class action litigation and doing compliance counseling related to consumer protection, compliance with privacy-based statutes. On an average business day, you'll find me writing a brief, participating in strategy sessions, mentoring junior lawyers, and speaking with clients. I'm also, as mentioned, the mother of 3 children, Billy, who just turned 7 last week, Dorothy, otherwise known as Dottie, who is 4 and who is named for my grandmother, one of the strongest women influences in my life, and David, the 3rd child, who is 2 years old. Shouldn't forget him. On an average weekend day, you will find me struggling to push a massive double stroller down the aisle at Target, attending soccer games, inventing bedtime stories that incorporate both princesses and knights to satisfy my audience, and then falling asleep on the couch about 10 minutes into a movie, give or take. My life is full, and it's rich, and it's exhausting, and I wouldn't have it any other way. There's a lot of banter about the concept of women having it all, and some debate as to whether that's a realistic proposition, particularly for someone who wants to be engaged fully in their life at home and fully engaged in their professional life. When women lawyers and law students ask me, can you have it all? My answer is unequivocally yes, but there are 3 things that I note. First, I'll tell them it's critical to find a job that makes you happy, truly happy. A job that drives you to work hard because you want to and not because you're expected to. That is what sustains me in my career. I go to work at Drinker every day with a renewed sense of energy and excitement for what is to come, for vigorously defending clients in high-stakes litigation, for helping them navigate difficult problems, for developing a robust practice together with my partners and friends, and for preserving, nurturing, and growing an institution founded in 1849 with colleagues who share the same core values. Second, I tell them, seek out mentors. Several of mine are in the room tonight. Find people who see themselves in you and in whom you see yourself. Third, I tell them, really, it's very important, cut yourself some slack. It is not easy. You will inevitably have moments when you question yourself professionally and personally, when you feel as though you're falling short on both ends, when you rush to make the train home to get to a school event and it pulls away just as you're running towards it, when you're on your way to a very important client meeting and you realize you're wearing 2 different shoes, when you sit on an airplane about to depart on a business trip and you're riveted and guilt-ridden, watching a mother with her child in the row in front of you. When you're standing in a crowded elevator at the Eastern District of Pennsylvania courthouse, and suddenly Old MacDonald Had a Farm comes blaring from a toy in your purse. Or when your office phone rings and your kids are calling you to say goodnight, and your daughter says she misses you, and it hurts a lot. Those moments, as difficult as they are, will pass. And sure enough, an ECF notice will come in telling you your motion was granted, or your child will put her arms around your neck and tell you that notwithstanding the phone call, you're the best mother in the whole wide world. There's a great quote that says, there's no such thing as work-life balance. Everything worth fighting for unbalances your life. I love being a mother and I love being a lawyer. I treasure my family and I care deeply about my law firm. I adore my community out in Bryn Mawr and the legal community in Philadelphia, where a young lawyer like me can quickly build a reputation, a network, and a practice. I attribute so much of my confidence and professional success to the foundation I received at University of Pennsylvania Law School. I will forever be grateful to this institution for taking a chance on me. Just a quick closing, I want to take a moment to thank my amazing and my ever-patient husband, Dan, for his love and support, and to also acknowledge my mother, who didn't want me to acknowledge her. My mother raised my 2 sisters and me as a single parent, working multiple jobs and struggling to make ends meet in order for us to live in a school district in Great Neck, New York, that would provide us with the best possible education. She instilled in us values of kindness, integrity, honesty, and fairness. She inspired us to work hard and to dream big. She reassured us during moments of uncertainty, and she unconditionally supported us as we found our respective paths. Everyone should have this kind of cheerleader in their lives. And while the 13-year-old me would have been horrified to hear this said out loud, the truth is you're always right. Thank you all again so much.
I just think about this for a minute. You know, we have a published author, a faculty member, a general counsel, and a partner in our rising stars. It's just an amazing, amazing thing. And we are so proud of you. An institution doesn't have any choice but to define itself by the people who call it theirs. And for us to be able to define ourselves by you and your careers to date is a real privilege for the University of Pennsylvania Law School. So congratulations to the four of you. Thanks to all of you for being with us. We have dessert and coffee before we head out to tomorrow's great panel. So thank you for being with us and congratulations.